Hi, good morning. It's Levi with Levi's Harder Kill Training. I get asked why I don't talk on my YouTube channel or even Instagram. I don't know. I just don't feel that comfortable, I guess, talking in front of a camera that often. I've been encouraged to try to change that. So here's my first attempt at maybe a little bit more personal side of me. I had the opportunity yesterday to be on a podcast. I think it was my fifth one. It's a lot of fun to be on podcasts for me. I do enjoy it. And thankfully, I was able to get the questions beforehand, and I was able to kind of study them and hopefully not sound like an idiot when I was talking. It's just I don't have a problem talking. I don't want to come across as arrogant or somebody that I'm not. And so um, I like to be prepared as much as I can. And so one of the questions that I was asked or to prepare for was how do I handle disappointment or maybe perceived failure? And as I was thinking about that on how I can be authentic with my response, because I don't handle disappointment well. Especially initially. For me as a former athlete, as a competitor now, I can tell you that I I don't do well when I don't reach my goals. It's different when I'm coaching. If I'm programming or working with someone, I can use a different perspective, or reality. But when it comes to me, I really struggle with that. I need to be talked down. It's one of the reasons I have a coach for my competing, because there's many times where I get so frustrated with my own efforts or my performance or where I want to be and where I'm not, and I will call my coach, and he'll give me the same answers that I'll tell somebody else, and I can do a better job receiving from him than I can from myself. And so, to answer the question, how do I handle disappointment or a perceived failure? I don't handle it well. For me personally, I lack perspective for my own expectations, and reality is a very powerful teacher. So once I am able to remove the emotion from the situation, take a few moments to step back and really consider what's going on and consider my mindset, um, I have to ask myself, am I allowing myself to learn from the opportunity that has just been presented to me? And that really is a choice. I can choose to be frustrated or bitter or angry or aggressive or whatever, or cast blame on whatever I want to do, or I can choose to be an adult and to be a man and understand that I'm not a victim of circumstance or of anything else, and that this is part of the process. And for me, I have to allow myself the opportunity to learn, and I learn best through. I think a lot of us learn best through trial and error or just the experience itself. For me, training is a journey, and that's my journey, and it doesn't have to be your journey. But training is what I choose as a part of my process. And um, for me, it's a journey of self-discovery. It's important for me to be present in my own journey and to have expectation in my own journey. And um, if I'm choosing to respond negatively, I'm not being present, and I'm not having expectation. Um, this process, this journey that I'm talking about, it takes a while. Um, we can't we can't become who we're supposed to be when it's easy. Um, we can't shortcut who we're supposed to be. Um, Yet I think we really, our society now is conditioned for fast and easy and convenient and comfort, and we don't like difficult, slow process things. And so we want to find the path of least resistance in our life, and I don't think we can shortcut that journey to become who we're supposed to be. I think we need the hardships. I think we have to quote unquote fail so we can learn um, who we're supposed to be. Fast results don't last. They're not lasting results, and we have to. This is big picture stuff for me anyway, and so for those lasting results, adding perspective, a real perspective. For me, I am a man of faith. Um, if I read some of Paul's writings, it really helps. For example, in 1 Corinthians, it's got on my computer screen here, on 1 Corinthians 9 verses 24 through 27, and if you're probably very familiar with this, but it says, do you not know that all in a race, all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. Everyone competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. Therefore, I do not run like someone running aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer beating the air. No, I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize. And so, I mean, there's a whole different. You can talk about this for many different directions, different ways. But for me, briefly to kind of wrap this up, I want to run, or in my case, kettlebell half snatch, in a way to get the prize. I don't want to go through the motions, and in order to train in a way to get the prize that I want, even though it's perishable, I have to go into strict training. I can't go through the motions. It's not an easy process to compete at the level that I want to compete at, and there's going to be or failures. I'm going to come up short because that's how I learn. This last year when I competed in Spain, I came up short from my goal, not even really that close. And had I reached my goal right away the first time, I wouldn't have learned anything. I wouldn't have learned anything about this process. I came back home defeated and embarrassed because I have created this person in my mind that isn't who I really am, and I have these thoughts that people have these expectations of me that they don't. Nobody cares about how I place. I mean, it's a process for me, and so what I did was I came home and I still want that prize, that perishable prize. I'm trying not to define myself by success or quote unquote failure, but I knew that I needed something more. And in the last year, 9 months, 10 months right now, I guess, but in the last 10 months, I've learned so much about myself because I asked for help. I hired a coach full time for the training specifically. I learned more about programming. I've learned more about just the process, the journey that I'm on. And I'm becoming a better coach myself because of this process, because I was finally able to remove the emotion and change my perspective and look at my failure at the time as an opportunity to get better. I can go into the next Worlds in 2 months in Poland more confident that I have done the work, that I have gone into strict training, much more strict than I was before. I thought I was working hard before, and I was working hard, but nowhere close to what I'm doing. I'm not before. In comparison, I was training aimlessly, running aimlessly, like it says in the scriptures. But now I am much more prepared mentally and physically to go and lead others in the future, but more specifically myself as I go into this next competition. This last year has been in a sense a discovery on a lot of things, on many different levels, because of disappointment or perceived failure. So it's not a failure because I'm better because of it. And even if I don't hit my goal this time around, I still learn significantly more. I'm still a better coach than I ever was before. And the other thing with a lot of this is as a husband and a father and a business owner and things like that, um, you know, just constantly worried about different things, and worry's not of the Lord. It's of this world, but I live in this world, and I'm affected by a lot of the same things that everybody else is. And as I look at some of this stuff and travel and competition, and again, if I look at the process as a whole, it's not about the cost of doing a lot of these things. It's about the investment, um, into not only myself but into the future of this business and who I am and who I want to be. Traveling to Europe to compete gives me a perspective that very few will ever have. The bonus to that is that I get to stand on a platform with my family, and compete with my girls, and I'm creating memories, and I'm creating an experience, that I could have never imagined would have been possible before I picked up a kettlebell. Um, so yeah, that perspective is an investment now, and it's not an expense. It's not time away from my business, and because when I'm not here, I'm not earning money, and that's the wrong attitude to have. But that's where I get caught up in, and so this experience of travel and training is really a part of the process of becoming who I am and who I'm going to be. Um, and I have to take that I have to go through that fire of the training, of coming up short, of all that stuff to really be who I'm supposed to be. And I can't do that sitting on, in Spirit Lake, Iowa, and never leaving and never putting myself out there and never being challenged. And so coming up short is okay. It's not what I want, but I'm better because of it. Um, and so I'm learning to handle disappointment better because, again, coming up short it only defines me if I allow it to define me. And I don't want to be defined by coming up short. I'm being defined by overcoming that perceived failure. And so to answer the question, 12 minutes later, I got to change my perspective and look at everything as an opportunity to learn and to grow. And that's how I want to handle right away, how I want to handle disappointment or a failure. Here I am 41 years later, still just trying to figure it out. So anyway, here's me talking. As you can see, I don't shut up when I start, so that's probably why I don't. But anyway, I hope you enjoy. Thanks.